Christ is in our midst. Today on Tuesday, March 12th, we commemorate St. Theophanes the Confessor, St. Symeon the New Theologian, St. Gregory Dialogos, Bishop of Rome, and St. Phineas, grandson of the prophet Aaron.
Regarding St. Theophanes, Theophanes, who was born in 760, was the son of illustrious parents. Assenting to their demand, he married and became a member of the emperor's ceremonial bodyguard. Later, with the consent of his wife, he forsook the world. Indeed, both of them embraced the monastic life, struggling in the monastic houses they themselves had established. He died on March 12, 815, on the island of Samothrace, whereto, because of his confession of the Orthodox faith, he has been exiled by Leo the Armenian, the iconoclast emperor. The image of God was faithfully preserved in you, O Father, for you took up the cross and followed Christ. By your actions you taught us to look beyond the flesh as it passes, rather to be concerned about the soul which is immortal. Wherefore, O holy Theophanes, your soul rejoices with the angels. Regarding St. Symeon the New Theologian, of which there are very few saints that have that term theologian. St. Symeon became a monk of the Studite monastery as a young man. Under the guidance of the elder Symeon the Pious, afterwards he struggled at the monastery of St. Mamas in Constantinople, of which he became abbot. After enduring many trials and afflictions in his life of piety, he reposed in 1022. Marveling at the heights of prayer and holiness of which he attained, and the loftiness of the teachings of his life and writings, the Church calls him the New Theologian. Only two others, John the Evangelist and Gregory, Patriarch of Constantinople, has the Church given the name theologian. St. Symeon reposed on March 12th, but since this always falls in the great fast, his feast is kept today. Since you had received within your pure soul God's enlightenment, O righteous Father, you were shown to the world a blazing light, which brave away the thick darkness and moved all men to seek the grace of the Spirit which they had lost. While Holy Father Symeon, intercede with him to grant great mercy to us who honor you. Regarding St. Gregory Dialogos, the Bishop of Rome, St. Gregory was born in Rome to noble and wealthy parents about the year 540. While the saint was still young, his father died. However, his mother, Sylvia, saw to it that her child received a good education in both secular and spiritual learning. He became prefect of Rome and sought to please God even while in the world. Later, he took up the monastic life. Afterwards, he was appointed Archdeacon of Rome. Then, in 579, Bocrisarius, representative papal legate to Constantinople, where he lived for nearly 7 years. He returned to Rome in 585 and was elected pope in 590. He is renowned especially for his writings and great almsgiving, and also because, on his initiative, missionary work began among the Anglo-Saxon people. It is also from him that Gregorian chant takes its name. The chanting he had heard at Constantinople had deeply impressed him, and he imported many elements of it into ecclesiastical chant of Rome. He served as bishop of that city from 590 to 604. A model of faith in the image of gentleness, the example of your life has shown you forth as your sheepfold to be a master of temperance. You obtain thus through being lowly gifts from on high, and riches through poverty. Gregory our Father and priest to priest, intercede with Christ our God, that he may save our souls. Now this, of course, is very, very important, because Gregorian chant is the antecedent to classical music. And classical music, as we trace down, goes all the way to pop music today, because there are developments of those things. And of course, Gregory received his understanding of music from the Byzantine East, from Byzantine chant. And Byzantine chant takes its lessons from the chanting of the angels. And so angelic choirs literally impacted how all music today came to be. This Cheese Fair Tuesday, we read from St. Jude's first universal letter. So Jude, Judas, is not Judas Iscariot. This Jude was a half-brother of Jesus Christ, one of the children of Joseph the betrothed. Jude, a servant of Jesus Christ and brother of James. So this was Jacobus, who is another child of Joseph. To those who are called beloved in God the Father and kept for Jesus Christ, may mercy, peace, and love be multiplied to you. Beloved, being very eager to write to you of our common salvation, I found it necessary to write, appealing to you to contend for the faith which was once for all delivered to the saints. For admission has been secretly gained by some who long ago were designated for this condemnation, ungodly persons, who pervert the grace of our God into licentiousness and deny the only master of our Lord Jesus Christ. Now, what he means by this is that there are people that have entered into Christian churches pretending to be Christian, but they're actually agents of deceit. led astray by the devil. They are people that are trying to subvert the faith, and this was prophesied about. So it's not that they were foreordained to do this, that they are, don't have agency. They have agency. This has just been prophesied that they're going to do this. Now I desire to remind you, though you were once for all fully informed, that the Lord saved a people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed those who did not believe. And the angels that did not keep their own position, but left their proper dwelling, have been kept by him in eternal chains in the nether gloom until the judgment of the great day. Just as Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding cities, which likewise acted immorally and indulged in an unnatural lust, serve as an example by undergoing a punishment of eternal fire. Meaning that we're cognizant of the judgment that is to come. And that those, even if we were considered beloved of God, if we turn on God, if we do this, then we will be guilty and judgment will be rendered to us. Yet in like manner, these men in their dreamings defile the flesh, reject authority, and revile the glorious ones. But when the archangel Michael, contending with the devil, disputed about the body of Moses, he did not presume to pronounce a reviling judgment upon him, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." But these men revile whatever they do not understand, and by those things they know by instinct as irrational animals, they are destroyed. So in other words, because they give into lusts and these things, they will be destroyed themselves by the acts themselves. It's very, very sad. Continuing with the Gospel according to St. Luke. At that time when Jesus came out, he went as was his custom to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. And when he came to the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not enter into temptation." And he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, and knelt down and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done." Now the cup that he's talking about is crucifixion, death, torture. This is showing Jesus Christ is very much a human being, because no human being wants to suffer torture in this way. No human being wants to die in this way. But Jesus Christ is showing us how we are to behave by immediately following up with, "Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done." This is why in the Lord's Prayer we see, "Thy will be done." So Christ is praying. He's praying for strength. And when he rose from prayer, he came to the disciples and found them sleeping for sorrow. And he said to them, "Why do you sleep? Rise and pray that you may not enter into temptation." While he was still speaking, there came a crowd, and the man called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He drew near to Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus said to him, "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" And when those who were about to him saw what would follow, they said, "Lord, shall we strike with the sword?" And one of them struck the slaves of the high priest and cut off his right ear. But Jesus said, "No more of this," and touched his ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests and officers of the temple and elders who had come out against him, "Have you come out against a robber with swords and clubs? When I was with you day after day in the temple, you did not lay hands on me. But this is your hour and the power of darkness." Then they seized him and led him away, bringing him into the high priest's house. Peter followed at a distance, and when they had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and sat down together, Peter sat among them. Then a maid, seeing him as he sat in the light, and gazing at him, said, "This man was also with him." But he denied, saying, "Woman, I do not know him." And a little later someone else saw him and said, "You are also one of them." But Peter said, "Man, I am not." And after an interval of about an hour, still another insisted, saying, "Certainly this man was also with him, for he is a Galilean." But Peter said, "Man, I do not know what you are saying." And immediately while he was still speaking, the cock crowed. And the Lord turned and looked at Peter. And Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, "Before the cock crows today, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly. Now the men who were holding Jesus mocked him and beat him. They also blindfolded him and asked him, "Prophesy, who is it that struck you?" And they spoke many other words against him, reviling him. When they came, the assembly of the elders and the people gathered together, both the chiefs and the scribes, and they led him away to their council. And they said, "If you are the Christ, tell us." But he said to them, "If I tell you, you will not believe. And if I ask you, you will not answer. But from now on the Son of Man shall be seated at the right hand of the power of God." And they all said, "Are you the Son of God then?" And he said to them, "You say that I am." And they said, "What further testimony do we need? We've heard it ourselves from his own lips." Then the whole company of them rose and brought him before Pilate.
I hope that you've enjoyed today's spiritual calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.